My buying Angst is just textbook definition FOMO or fear of missing out. Now I will say Angst is a movie that I've wanted to see for a long time. I've heard good things about it and I'm a fan of serial killer movies. Cult Epics did a reprint of the film and one day I saw on their Facebook that Angst was going out of print and once it's sold, it's gone. So of course I was like, oh shit, I'm gonna miss out. I better go order right now. Gas can wait. Angst is going out of print. I think the film is still readily available on Amazon, but you better hurry. They only have 9 left in stock. Which is funny because I actually think when I first wrote that joke in the script, I think it was at 5. So somehow they've gotten 4 more. Did they do like a second reprint? I'm not sure. In all honesty, I did get the film, and much like other films on my watch list, it went on the shelf only to be scooted around for other films to join the archive. Finally though, I get to cross this one off my list, and you know what? I loved it. The film follows an unnamed man who is the narrator of the film who is released from prison for murder. The man talks about how much he wants to kill again and that he will. Well, pretty much the same day of being released, he breaks into a house and starts to torment a family that lives there. Now, I am a fan of serial killers in the sense that I find them very interesting. Like, yeah, their crimes are heinous, but the psychology of doing the crime, how they justify it in a way, and kind of how they, to kind of pick that hamster at the wheel going kind of thing, I just find to be really fascinating. I dive into a lot of true crime, whether it be audiobooks, podcasts, YouTube videos, or documentaries, but there's very few films that feel like they capture the authenticity of a serial killer. Most films chalk it up as exploitative or jump scary, but very few feel grounded and realistic, and Angst 1000% feels like grade A Wagyu bona fide genuine leather. Us not knowing the killer's name also turns us into the victim, as it comes across as anybody could do this. I mean, for the family, he is just a random guy, but during the entire movie, we get the main character narrating over everything, talking about his desires, his motives, and his stories of his past. It's really interesting because the narrative is telling us basically what's going to happen to these people, his plans for these people, because it happens, which adds to the horror and hopelessness of the film, diving not only into the killer's point of view, but also allowing us to feel what the victim is going through and empathizing with them, creating complex emotions that kind of toy with the viewer. There's also this scene where the killer is fighting the older woman where he's just telling a story over the narration that really adds to the narcissism of the killer, proving that their gratification is the only thing that matters, that in the time of this woman being the victim, this is his story and his life is more important. It feels like every aspect of this film is to drive home the points even harder, and it really works. Speaking of fighting the older woman, this has some incredibly vicious and brutal moments. Roughhousing isn't the right word. It feels like a full-on assault, which helps ground the film. Like, I wouldn't be surprised if I found out some of the actors in this film ended up getting hurt during some of these scenes. It's really rough, but it really does ground it. The cinematography is great. A lot of it is really shaky, but at times it's still and smooth. It feels like a real reflection of the killer's mental state, but also the way the camera blocks using a lot of close-ups really adds to the claustrophobia of the film, adding to the chaos and the distortion. There's also great moments of perspective using upward shots and downward shots to show power and who's in control. Everything just feels purposeful. The music is great and at times sounded dated, yes, but overall really good score here. It complements the scenes really well. The acting is where the film can fluctuate. Erwin, who you might remember from last year's 31 entry in Das Boot, plays the lead killer and he gives an absolutely fantastic performance, by far the best in the film. Everyone else though can feel a little lacking, especially the younger woman in the film. I felt like she had a hard time selling some of the scenes. It was never bad enough to break the tension, but it's something I did kind of notice. It kind of sucks that this was Gerald Kargl's only film. I hope I'm saying that right, because it's clear that he had talent. I guess he just wanted to make this movie. I don't know. I don't know his story. It's worth mentioning that this film is based on a true story that I know nothing about the true story of, and I still haven't looked into it, but I probably will eventually. Overall though, I really enjoyed this one. To me, this is one of the more disturbing films I've seen. Gross out violence and stuff like that doesn't really get to me, but when something feels ultra realistic and dives into more of the psychological stuff like this one does, it kind of gets to me. Sure, Cannibal Holocaust has some gross out stuff in it, but this film gets under your skin and presents more of a night of terror and brutality that can feel more documentarian than the film trying to be a pseudo fake documentary. I'm giving this film an 8 out of 10 for now. This is one that could go up on a second viewing or down, I guess, but I will definitely be watching this one again. Better hurry up though and buy this one before it's gone. Gone forever, never to be sold again. Better do it now. Do it now.